A sudden crash disrupted the tranquil flow of the dojo. Ricky, slender and boisterous, brimming with self-importance, had just sent Jason Statham's gym bag tumbling to the ground. Gloves and wraps lay strewn across the floor as Ricky exclaimed, "CGI punches have no place in a genuine gym, Hollywood." All activity in the room came to a standstill. Jason remained still on the bench, his hoodie pulled up, hands neatly folded, an observer in silence, simply watching. "Greetings, I am addressing you, stunt double," Ricky growled, pacing around him. "Is this merely a movie set, or are you genuinely alive back there?" Silence prevails. Kyle and Nate chuckled in the background, stoking the flames of the moment. The phones began to capture the moment. Even the weighty bags appeared to freeze in midsway. Jason's gaze ascended. "I was merely observing," he stated with a serene demeanor. Ricky wore a sly grin. "Now observe this, one round, unless fear holds you back." Trainer Lou paused, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. Jason did not. He rose to his feet. "Take your time." Silence prevails. Only a hardened resolve reflected in his eyes. "Let us embark on this journey." Ricky let out a derisive snort. "Flee Hollywood." With a deliberate motion, Jason advanced a single step. It was common knowledge. He was not in motion. He was bringing it to a close. Before we move forward, be sure to like and subscribe to witness Jason Statham's thrilling showdown with the amateur fighter. Share your location with us today. The atmosphere within Steel Pulse Dojo crackled with palpable tension and the thick scent of humid sweat. The sound of punch mitts cracking, pads slapping, and the sharp clink of chain-link cage rattles reverberated through the shadowy confines of the San Diego gym. It was sparring night, and the atmosphere crackled with tension. Each fighter was either drenched in sweat from their rounds or prowling like sharks, biding their time for the next opportunity. Jason Statham occupied a solitary bench against the distant wall. With his hoodie pulled up, he sat with hands resting on his thighs, his eyes keen and unwavering. He merged seamlessly into the background, silent yet keenly aware, without a following, without ego. A slender silhouette, a quiet strength honed through countless hours of genuine battle. His presence was understated, yet those who were aware could sense it. He observed everything around him. Across the mat, Ricky Martinez strode with an air of ownership, exuding confidence in every step. A figure in their mid-20s, with a wiry frame and a mouth that never seems to rest. This amateur fighter commands attention with a boisterous energy and an ambition that has gone viral. And most troubling of all, he harbored a grudge. Ricky's training went beyond the pursuit of victory. It was a quest for recognition. Nothing drew more eyes than when he aimed his barbs at a celebrity, particularly an individual such as Jason Statham. Ricky's two companions, Kyle and Nate, lingered close by, their laughter ringing too loudly, engaging in mock battles for effect, casting sidelong looks at Jason as if he were the centerpiece of a feast. The trio had been intensifying their performance throughout the evening, selecting their targets with precision and deriding their fellow combatants. At that moment, their gazes converged on one, Jason. At the heart of the scene, Coach Lou positioned himself with hands firmly on his hips. A balding figure, grizzled and undeniably tough. He had shaped the destinies of countless warriors, and Jason had once stood among them. Lou felt no surprise at his arrival this evening. Jason occasionally engaged in that behavior when he was around, yet the atmosphere in the room felt distinctly different this time. Lou observed Ricky's unruly behavior, and an understanding dawned upon him. A shimmer of light danced across the mat, revealing a phone lens capturing the moment, someone already recording. A subtle change swept through the atmosphere. The words began to simmer. Attention shifted, combatants easing their repetitions, pads resting in stillness as anticipation surged. Jason remained utterly still, yet the cage was electrified, and a palpable sense of anticipation enveloped them all. The atmosphere in the Steel Pulse Dojo shifted as Ricky advanced with purposeful strides toward Jason's corner, the noise around him fading into a hushed anticipation. "Greetings, pretender of the ring." Ricky's voice sliced through the air with the sharpness of a slap. "Is the CGI malfunctioning today?" He bent low, nudging Jason's duffel bag with his foot. It careened to the side, the top unfastening just enough for training gloves and a towel to cascade onto the mat. Jason remained still. In that moment, all eyes shifted toward the source of intrigue. The fighters came to a halt. The rhythm of pads and mitts diminished. Mobile devices had already made their debut. Ricky beamed, arms lifted as if he had just clinched a victory. "Whoops," he remarked with a hint of sarcasm. It seems that was indeed genuine. Kyle and Nate erupted into laughter behind him. Nate muttered, "I bet those gloves still bear the marks of green screen paint." Jason cast his gaze upon the bag. Then I looked up at Ricky. "Approach. Regulated. Footwork is sufficient," he stated calmly. His tone lacked defensiveness. It was indeed a matter of fact, as if they were free from the burden of justification. He simply sought equilibrium. Ricky narrowed his eyes. "What is this?" Jason cast a glance at the younger fighter who had been honing his skills in the cage earlier. During a break, Jason had assisted him with pivots. "The child you overlooked. He possesses a remarkable potential. Preserve its essence. Avoid overwhelming it with boisterous guidance." That resonated deeply. Ricky advanced, his presence growing more imposing. "Vibrant guidance," he reiterated. "You stroll in, perched upon your lofty pedestal, believing you can impart wisdom to my team?" Jason inclined his head, unperturbed. "I did not impart knowledge. I offered my assistance." The phones continued to ascend. From across the mat, Lou's voice trembled softly. "All right, gentlemen, let's settle down." However, Ricky lifted his hand, interrupting him. "No, let's resolve this at this very moment. Are you interested in discussing footwork?" He gestured towards the cage. "Engage in the fray or withdraw from the sidelines." Jason's expression was a mask of inscrutability. "Come on, movie boy," Ricky taunted, circling a bit now. "Let us discover if you truly bleed in the realm of reality." Kyle and Nate played basketball in the background, reminiscent of corner men rallying behind a prizefighter. Jason's fingers intertwined serenely, poised between his knees. "I didn't come here to spar," he declared. "Then you better leave," Ricky said, stepping even closer now. And then it occurred. Ricky prodded his shoulder. Not a blow. A quick, cutting push that leaves no room for debate. Yet it bore a purpose. Disregard. Strength. Jason swayed imperceptibly with the force, his stance momentarily unsettled. Yet it lasted but a heartbeat. He straightened himself. Silence enveloped the room. His eyes, now ablaze with intensity, fixed on Ricky with a piercing gaze. A measured, icy precision enveloped his being. "Are you certain you desire that round?" Jason inquired. Ricky let out a scoff, a broad grin spreading across his face. "Indeed, I am placing my hopes upon it." And just like that, the cage transformed from a mere training ground into a profound lesson waiting to unfold. One round. Let us explore what Hollywood has to offer. Ricky lunged, his voice a sharp bark as he advanced, unleashing a sweeping right fist. Swift, flamboyant, yet untamed. Jason flowed with the grace of a gentle stream. His body shifted ever so slightly, just enough to allow the punch to cut through the air. No hesitation. Zero waste. Simply a serene avoidance. The dojo erupted in a violent burst. Phones were raised as if in the heat of a championship bout. Countless screens flickered to life, immortalizing each moment. The instant transcended the clash of two combatants, morphing into a phenomenon that spread like wildfire in real time. Ricky recoiled, his eyes fluttering in surprise. That blow typically sent men into a frenzy or prompted them to retaliate. Jason remained almost completely still, as if he were witnessing time unfold in slow motion. Alas, a voice murmured from the shadows of the cage. "Did you catch that? Dude, he's not merely a film figure." Another whispered, eyes aglow with astonishment. Kyle, his energy surging from the rear, shouted, "Ignite his spirit, Rick. He is a whirlwind of lenses and flashes." Ricky gave a swift nod. In an instant, concealing the abrupt glimmer of uncertainty that danced in his gaze. He sprang onto his toes once more, seeking to reclaim the cadence. Jason had yet to lift his fists. He remained motionless, his expression a mystery. Concentrated, serene. At the periphery of the mat, Lou, once Jason's stunt coach, stood with his arms crossed. Though he remained silent, his very presence grounded the atmosphere of the room. Jason cast a fleeting glance in his direction. Lou offered a barely perceptible nod. That was all it required. Jason advanced with purpose. In a single graceful movement, the hoodie was removed, folded with precision, and laid beside the bag that Ricky had hastily shoved aside moments before. His black shirt hugged his form, revealing a lean physique sculpted by the rigors of reality. Not for display, but for intention. He approached the center mat with purpose. Ricky was already present, pacing restlessly like a creature unaware of the invisible barrier that kept it confined. Jason's voice sliced through the air with precision. One round. Silence fell over the crowd. There shall be no introductory melodies. Without gloves. A pristine confrontation poised to explode. Ricky unleashed another jab, this time with a proximity that was almost intimate, a mere breath away. Jason remained unperturbed. He adjusted his stance, lowering his hands as he shifted his weight. A series of sharp intakes of breath echoed softly throughout the space. "Do you notice that?" A whisper floated through the air. "He's luring him in." Nate leaned in from the corner, his voice barely above a whisper as he spoke to Kyle. "Hold on. What if we made a mistake?" Jason was the one to make the initial move, a solitary step forward, then came to a halt. Every gaze was drawn. Even Ricky ceased his bouncing. Then Jason inhaled deeply, gaze sharpening. His entire form appeared to become rigid. A chilling clarity settled into position. It was not the posture of a man seeking validation. It was the posture of one who had already attained. Jason moved in a subtle arc, his footsteps whispering against the ground. Ricky twitched, a wave of confusion washing over him. He had anticipated wrath. He seized control. Jason's gaze swept over Ricky's stance. Constrained shoulders, unsteady footwork, excessive pressure on the leading leg. At that moment, the crowd began to stir. "Hello." He exhibits no fear. A new voice has joined the chorus. He is observing him intently. The end has come. Even Lou inclined his body a fraction, attuned to the change in atmosphere. Jason lingered in anticipation. As Ricky remained still, it was Jason who took action. A modest advance. That was everything. Yet, the gym burst forth with jubilant cheers. Devices angled upward. All eyes were fixed intently on the scene unfolding before them. Jason had yet to unleash a single blow. Yet, in some inexplicable way, he had already captured the essence of the room. Ricky made the first move, careless, confrontational, seeking a swift conclusion. He unleashed a reckless overhand right. What did Jason say? Pristine, exact. With a deft pivot to the left, he slipped into the arc, parrying the punch effortlessly with a mere flick of his forearm. His gaze remained fixed on Ricky's. Ricky's forward momentum propelled him beyond his intended mark. Jason exacted his punishment upon it. Snap, a subtle strike, the shin meeting the thigh. At the very heart of it all, Ricky's stance wavered ever so slightly. A breath caught in the collective throat of the audience. Jason pressed on, unwavering in his determination. He swiftly unleashed a precise left hook aimed at the body. The sound of the impact elicited a grunt from Ricky, resounding throughout the room. "Ah!" A voice erupted from the rear. Ricky stumbled back, taken aback by the revelation. His smile had vanished. Jason advanced once more, remaining serene. He was not in pursuit. He was slicing through angles, akin to a surgeon clad in gloves. With urgency coursing through him, Ricky unleashed a frantic jab-cross combo, eager to regain his footing. Jason deftly evaded both, glided to the periphery, and then seized his opportunity. With a sudden, fluid motion, he grasped Ricky's waist and hoisted him effortlessly. The takedown lacked any flair. It was fierce and impactful. Ricky crashed onto the mat, his shoulders striking the canvas with a muted thud that reverberated throughout the cage. The cage trembled. Devices trembled. Coaches on the sidelines leaned in with anticipation. Jason towered above Ricky, merely for a moment's pause, then unleashed an elbow, concise, swift, and impeccably positioned. Snap! Ricky's head struck the canvas with a jarring thud. His lips parted, revealing a jagged line. Crimson droplets fell upon the mat. Stillness. In that fleeting moment, the gym was enveloped in an eerie silence. Ricky gazed upward, his eyes momentarily caught by the brilliance of the lights above. Stunned, lips parted, gasping for breath that eluded him. Nate and Kyle, who had been fervently cheering him on just moments before, now stood paralyzed, caught in a dilemma of whether to shout or flee. Jason rose to his feet. He refrained from gloating. He ambled in a leisurely half-circle around Ricky, who struggled and faltered in his attempt to kneel. Instead, Jason crouched, concentrated. He leaned closer, his voice dropping to a whisper meant solely for Ricky's ears. Completed, and thus it came to an end. Jason withdrew a step. Ricky fell to the ground once more, his breath coming in labored gasps. Each muscle in his body cried out from the intense ordeal he had just faced. At last, a voice emerged from the throng, shattering the stillness that had enveloped them. A grizzled voice murmured from the back, "That's Jason Statham. He honed his skills alongside Benny the Jet, my friend." A different voice called out, "It is indeed real." And just in that moment, the room burst into chaos. Applause, exclamations of joy, and enthusiastic cheers. Devices soared to greater heights. Screens overflowed with TikTok, Instagram, and Reels. By the time Jason got to his hoodie, the clip had already taken the internet by storm. This just reached 2 million views on TikTok. A voice erupted from the shadows of the cage. With a steady hand, Jason zipped his bag, the sound a quiet punctuation in the stillness around him. Ricky's crew remained motionless, quiet. Kyle stood with his arms crossed, his gaze fixed on the floor beneath him. Nate glanced at his phone, completely indifferent to Ricky's presence now. At the heart of the mat, Ricky coughed softly, lingering in a daze. His confidence vanished. What about his ego? Devastated. And what of Jason? Uttered not a single word more. He offered a brief nod to Lou, who remained poised, observing with a blend of pride and restraint. The coach acknowledged him with a solitary nod. From one legend to the next, it went unspoken. Jason Statham had just brought to mind for everyone in that dojo. He was no cinematic warrior. He embodied authenticity. Ricky reclined on the mat, his legs splayed out, sweat cascading down his brow, a trickle of blood still oozing from his split lip. His chest heaved and subsided with quick, shallow breaths. The confidence had vanished. His gaze flitted across the room, searching for an escape, a justification, anything at all. Yet there remained no way out now. Before him lay nothing but the stark reality of truth. Jason stood still at the edge of the cage, hoodie back on, calm, composed, like nothing had happened. His breath came in a calm, measured rhythm. His focus was already somewhere else. Lou advanced, his face conveying a multitude of unspoken thoughts, a sense of pride, a measure of respect, and a subtle whisper of "I told you so." Jason didn't say a word yet. He allowed Ricky to take a seat within it. The utter humiliation, the stillness, the burden of countless lenses. Then Ricky's hand ascended gradually, trembling, not to strike, to make a gesture. "I was wrong," he muttered, his voice barely rising above a whisper. Jason pivoted. "What was that all about?" He spoke, not with mockery, but with a resolute tone, allowing his words to settle in the air. Ricky inhaled sharply. "I was wrong," he declared, his voice rising with intensity this time. I regret having shown you disrespect. Or perhaps this location." He surveyed his surroundings. His crew, Kyle and Nate, sat slumped on the bench, enveloped in silence, no longer making any effort to maintain an air of bravado. They averted their gaze. "Apologies," Ricky repeated, directing his words toward the gym. And then to Lou. "I overstepped my bounds, coach." Lou gave a single, firm nod, his jaw clenched tight. Jason approached Ricky, lowered himself slightly, and spoke just loud enough for the front row to catch his words. A valuable lesson has been imparted. Rise once more and strive for improvement. No boasting. There was no hint of a smirk, only respect. Ricky nodded, reminiscent of a student caught in the act, gradually standing up. The gym lingered in silence for a moment longer, the tension palpable, until a single clap shattered the stillness. Then there were two. Then came a wave. Cheers cascaded among the fighters encircling the mat. Several heads inclined in agreement. Others gazed at Jason, their eyes wide with astonishment. "That's real," one of the amateur fighters murmured. "He embodies more than mere stunts. He is truly genuine." The phones continued to capture the moment, yet there was an unmistakable shift in the atmosphere, transcended mere viral status. It was a fleeting moment, a moment of instruction, pivotal moment. Lou moved in closer to Jason, a soft chuckle escaping his lips. "You always had a knack for silencing the most boisterous of voices." Jason shrugged. "At times, the voice of pain resonates more profoundly than any spoken language." Lou gave him a hearty clap on the shoulder. "You continue to possess it." Jason offered a subtle smile. "Respect the mat," he declared, his voice resonating in the air. A singular reminder for Ricky, for the audience, for all those who bore witness. With that, Jason pivoted and strode across the mat, heading toward the locker room. The air felt distinct around him, as if the very atmosphere recognized it had just borne witness to something extraordinary. No clenched fists, no dramatic conclusion, simply a serene command. The figure departed, not in pursuit of glory or recognition, but simply because it was the honorable choice to make. As he approached the door, the gym had once more burst into a cacophony of energy. "Jason Statham, without a doubt," a voice pierced the air. "What a formidable creature." The clips were in the process of being uploaded. Ricky found himself at the heart of the unfolding drama. Still aching, still flushed, yet unyielding, simply humbled, and the pursuit of knowledge. And there, upon the bench, a whisper floated through the air, laced with reverence. "That is the true way to command respect." The gym will forever hold the memory of that night close to its heart. Ricky, the brash provocateur, the seeker of fleeting fame, the one who dared to ridicule icons, now found himself in quietude, perspiration adhering to his flesh, his pride reduced to ashes. He entered the arena with bravado, seeking recognition, but departed with a lesson etched in bruises and an echo of silence. Just one round. That was the moment when a narrative, once steeped in bravado, transformed into one firmly rooted in truth. By morning, the video had amassed 2 million views. In a stunning display, headlines proclaimed that Jason Statham silences the naysayers in a single round, all without uttering a single word. Yet the true moment unfolded not in the digital realm, but within the gaze of each fighter who witnessed the triumph of skill over ego in that very instant. Jason was never one to boast. He maintained a calm demeanor, never once elevating his voice. He merely stood there. As he stepped outside, the message resonated unmistakably. True skill requires no fanfare, for genuine mastery carries with it a quiet humility. What about Jason Statham? He demonstrated it beyond any doubt.